Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in with a Dr. Stone video. This time specifically we are doing episode to chapter comparisons. This time looking at episode 9 and comparing it to content that came from chapter 23, 24, and 25 of the Dr. Stone manga. This video is pretty much a nice little trivia video where we go through and nitpick little details about the changes between the two mediums. That said, for this one, I'm pretty excited. There's some cool changes occurring, so I'm very excited to get to those. But yeah, as is the norm, we're not going to talk about changes that were minor, like super minor, like small expansion of material that just helped the scenes transition from one point to another. We're mostly going here for more interesting changes. Anyway, without further ado, let's just jump into it. With the first big difference is that the anime gave away Gen at the very beginning of the episode. In the manga, Gen was a total surprise. The anime just ended up streamlining his arrival. Again, this is just a thing with the anime. They seem to not like surprises. Anyway, the next small change occurred with who called Kinro out on having the gold plate spear. In the anime, it was Chrome. In the manga, it was Kohaku. In the anime, it made more sense for Chrome to finish his conversation, while in the manga, they most likely used Kohaku since Kohaku is the warrior and is shown to have a friendlier relationship with the brothers. Overall, this was a small change that I think was made in order to streamline the scene, but it is interesting when they're moving around who exactly is talking to who. Here's a bonus change. The anime ended up rearranging the scenes with Kohaku's father and with the group feeding the villagers. In the manga, it was initially Kohaku's father and their scene, and then the proper scene with everyone receiving food. Next up, the proper change, where on change 3, I'm 10 billion% excited. The next scene is totally anime original relative to the content in chapter 23. The moment that starts from Suika saying she lost track of people till the end of Kohaku noting that Senku's vibe is more vile in nature. That is anime original. If you watched these videos before, you know that the Dr. Stone anime doesn't really make big changes, so this is exciting. I do want to say I like that the anime embraced how the manga gets comedic value out of Senku's character, with playing up these more diabolical sides. And I'm ultimately happy that this moment wasn't out of character, knowing that they weren't referencing anything from the chapter that this material came out of. I do want to just clarify, because it's possible that that line was referenced from another point in the manga, but it wasn't in chapters 23, 24, and 25. The last little thing to add here is that this scene really was just adapted. It kind of just springboarded from this single panel. Which brings me to the next point. Look at how they presented Gen in this panel. In the anime, they showed him with a close-up shot, but with the manga panel, it was a little bit more fun. If you read the first two speech bubbles, you may not have noticed that Gen was in the corner until you saw the dialogue box that traced it back. This was a very real way of conveying Gen's sneaky nature. Of course, the anime gave Gen away from the get-go, so you don't really get that same feeling there. But even then, even if they were to try and convey it the same way that the manga conveyed it, I think it's fair to say that it maybe would not have had the same feel. In this case, I think the surprise was only possible because of how people read manga. The next change is a funny one. When Kohaku and company surround Gen, Ginro had this small moment where he comments that it's easy to feel strong and cool when Kohaku is around. The anime nixed that particular monologue, instead exchanging it for silence. This moment just reinforced what kind of character Ginro was, and reinforced Kohaku's characterization as the village's best warrior. The anime probably removed this because it went against the tension of the scene, in all honesty. But yeah, wow, can you believe that we've only covered 3 minutes of the episode? Like, the very beginning of the episode had the most changes by far. Anyway, next up is a small omission. The anime didn't show the panel of Ginro sneaking the ramen away. It was funny. Anyway, the scene unfolded in the background as Senku talked about no such thing as a free lunch. In the manga, you got to see the escalation with Ginro getting whacked by his brother. The next change is this roughly 15-second scene transition with Senku looking at the sky. This thing was adapted from one panel. This one. I know I said I wouldn't cover scenes that help the flow from panel to panel, but this scene is interesting. While the scene is ultimately just a time waster or filler, there is actually significance in Senku looking at the night sky while looking somber. For anime fans, you know that Senku wanted to go to space, so there's an association there. But manga fans, you understand why Senku might be a little bit more serious when he's looking up at the night sky. Anyway, props to the anime. They could have just made this transition whatever, but they decided to play with what they know about Senku. At the end of the day, still a filler scene, but good to have it. Now we're moving on to chapter 24 material. Next small omission, you missed a group of village helpers running away from Senku's group when the lightning strikes. Just a small thing. Next change comes from how the anime transitioned from the magma scene to the mountain. In the anime, Magma's crew leaves and it's pretty smooth. That was added by the anime. In the manga, we just jumped from Senku commenting on the back palming technique to the group climbing the mountain. Here though, we missed out on seeing Kohaku carry Senku up the mountain. So that's just a funny reminder of Senku's uselessness with physical activity. And now we're into chapter 25 material. That's really interesting. I have one more note about that at the end. But yes, before all of that, I want to show you the chapter 25 cover page because this is wonderful. Check out this formula on Senku's shirt. This formula is based on Faraday's law that pretty much says that electric potential is equal to the number of coil turns multiplied by the change in magnetic flux over a certain period of time. And that's pretty neat. I like that they put that in there. That was a nice little neat thing. I know it's from a cover page, but you guys wouldn't know about it otherwise, so I'm just going to put it out here. Oh, and the negative sign is there because you usually have to be careful with denoting the direction in which things are flowing when you're dealing with electricity, because you know, current moves in a particular direction. You got to keep that in mind. Anyway, the next change for chapter 25 is an addition. When the crew goes to recruit Kinro and Ginro, Kohaku, Chrome, and Senku all had lines. In the manga, it was only Gen that spoke to the pair, and that's it. That's kind of odd, don't you think? Actually, if you look at Dr. Stone episode 9 and you look at how things were working in the final bit of the episode and the back half of the episode, you'll notice that the transitions from scenes to scene seem a lot more all over the place. They seem a lot more sudden. The smooth transitions that we had at the beginning of the episode were not there for the back half of the episode. It's actually very interesting to see how it went down. I can tell you that there were actually a lot of timing changes, but the timing changes were usually just a simple thing as one line that happened a little bit earlier happening like maybe even 40 seconds later, roughly, in that kind of sense. Really interesting stuff, seeing how much adding filler content makes an episode flow better. But yeah, if you noticed any weird kind of jumps in the back half of episode 9, it's really just because they adapted chapter 25 and 24 much more closely relative to the original material. And the Dr. Stone original material is a fast-paced manga. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching. That's it for me. I'm off to work on some other videos, but thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.